Hey, and we're live today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm here with Tyler Williams, who's the Director of Scientific Services at Pathosans. And Pathosans has been innovating, engineering, and manufacturing electrically chemically activated solutions. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, OMG, that's a huge mouthful. And what on earth does that mean? Well, I'm really excited because today we're going to tell you. So thank you so much for joining us here today. I know you're probably here because you have an interest in cleaning. What? Cleaning? I know, it's crazy. Yeah. Here we are. So I want you to jump in the questions, and I want you to ask your questions because we've got Tyler himself here today to answer them for us. So Tyler, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you, Angela. Looking forward to our questions today and getting through and getting to talk about Pathosans.
Well, thank you. And I'm really excited that you joined us today because we are in an era right now, especially since the pandemic, of paying close attention to cleaning and disinfecting and sanitizing as we go. And that cleaning was the big thing before then. And then all of a sudden it was like the world was like, oh, we got to sanitize everything. So tell us, just give us a brief overview, and then we'll go into the nitty gritty of it. What is Pathosans and how do we participate?
Wonderful. Well, thank you. So Pathosans is really just a new era of technology. We're focused on producing natural cleaners and disinfectants to make a safer, sustainable world. How we do that is very unique. So at Pathosans, we use electrochemically activated solutions to do that, and we do it with on-site generators, or we've really specialized in OSG. These generators go in your facility like a device would. But Angela, today, what we're really, really excited about is the technology and the cleaning and disinfecting chemicals coming out of these units are now available for commercial and residential use. So the great stuff coming out of our equipment on maybe at hotels or at schools can now be available at your home in a sustainable way.
Well, and I'm excited about that because I know that during the pandemic, for example, we started looking at cleaning airports and hotels and schools in a whole different way. And we switched to things like electrically chemically activated, cleaning solutions and stuff. But this has not been available readily to homeowners. And so we want the same kind of technology, and we want to be able to clean as frequently as those public places do. So tell us a little bit. I mean, let's start from the very beginning. You mentioned the term ECAS system. What is ECAS? And tell us all the ins and outs of that.
Yeah, great. So as you can see in the banner right here, ECAS, or electrochemically activated solutions. And really what that's referring to is the core technology behind these on-site generators. So we can take a step back real quick, Angela, and look at a car battery. A car battery uses chemical to make an electrical circuit. Or like a reverse car battery, we're using electricity to make a chemical reaction. And because of that, we can add very precise amounts, 1 electron at a time, actually, of the chemical we need, and it's very effective. We can also do that with a unique imbalance of charges and a high purity of chemicals. So what that means for the end user is a very pure chemistry that's highly activated with a low concentration that's not dangerous or will not bioaccumulate or will not accumulate anywhere for that matter, and allows them to really work with the product over multiple repeated uses without that buildup too. So it really comes down to purity and reactivity.
I like what you're saying, but that sounds really expensive.
That's a great, most of our customers think that too, but what's wonderful is even in our consumer model right now, it's comparable to just about every other cleaner you can get on an online retailer or in a big box store right now.
Really?
Really?
Okay, so
right to your own home too.
Yeah. Well, walk me through that, because if I were going to switch cleaners, it sounds like a huge commitment. So if it can be delivered to my house, what does that look like? Because that would be super convenient.
Wonderful. So our technology has advanced quite a lot in the past few years. We're able to produce a higher concentration of our cleaner in a much smaller container and much smaller packaging. And then we encourage a reusable glass bottle at home. So what our starter pack looks like is a nice glass bottle, something you'd leave out on your table to almost display. No longer is cleaning hidden under the sink, right? And then we have these small little glass refillable vials that are all recyclable, all ready to go right back to reuse, reduce, and recycle, the 3 arrows, if you will, of chemistry. So what that'll look like is you can sign up with a subscription model, and we'll send it monthly, yearly, however you see fit. or we'll do a one-time shipment of this kit and refill packs after the fact.
So is it like a concentrate? And I
Yes,
use a
it is.
concentrate into a glass bottle and I just dilute that then with water?
Correct. Right from the tap. Yes.
And so if I understand correctly, your product looks like water. It's clear like water. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
so
that's one of our biggest biggest selling points to talk about is it looks like water, it smells like water. How could it be effective? And that's actually one of my big roles as director of scientific services, or professional nerd, if you will, is I have to prove it. We've actually compared our cleaner against many of the chemicals you probably have under your sink at home right now. And what's we found very unique is one product can replace 4 to 5 uses under your sink right now, or 4 to 5 bottles, I would say. And it doesn't have any dyes, it doesn't have any fragrance, and has nothing else in it that is effective, or excuse me, toxic. It is, it's very effective still. But what I'd like to point out too is we've proven all this with data, and I could bore you to death with all the data I have, kind of my job, right? But the other side of that
no, I mean, this is cool because
yeah.
I'm really big into like safety data sheets and reading all the science and all this stuff because the concern that I have as a professional house cleaner is I'm not just a homeowner that sprays something down and I wipe it up and then a couple of days later I might wipe it up again. As professional house cleaners, we're inside people's homes and we're around chemicals all day, every day. And so if you have a cleaner solution, my philosophy has always been, show me a better way to live, and then I want to live that way. And so this sounds like a much healthier approach. If you're going to be around chemicals all day, every day, this is a fantastic type of solution.
Wonderful. So I should mention too, we back every statement with true data, and our cleaner in its concentrated form is non-corrosive to skin and eyes, no VOCs, no added anything that can harm the end user, non-toxic, all the fun buzzwords that people use today, backed by true third-party data. Someone else put their name behind it. In fact, we even carry the Green Seal logo on all our products as well for that reason. What's really, really, really nice though, is as you're using repeated use over and over again, you got to look at the label. What is really in that bottle? Why does it have to be green, yellow, blue, whatever it may be? Where is that going when the water is out of it? And it's likely being left on your surface. And Andrew, like you said, you're cleaning 3-4 times a week, maybe. Where's all that going? Sure, you're wiping the surface, but where's all that chemistry going? It's being left behind on the surfaces. It's being put into the air for people to breathe, or it's being dumped to the drain and being dealt with by the environment. And that's really what we're trying to avoid.
One of the things that's a huge concern, especially in the Airbnb industry, because we've got a lot of cleaners that are doing Airbnbs, vacation rentals, short-term rentals, where instead of cleaning every other week, like we do with some of our traditional house cleaning customers, we're cleaning 2 and 3 times a week. And so what happens is we get, I call it the hotel yuck, where you go to a hotel room and they've been spraying chemicals over and over and over again. And then they turn the room the next day when the guest leaves and they spray all that stuff all over again. So you walk in and there's just this kind of aroma of chemical in the air, and it's icky. And we get that a lot in the Airbnbs. So tell us how we can use this. And I mean, is it safe to use on a really frequent basis, 2, 3, 4 times a week?
Absolutely. So absolutely. I would highly encourage, use it as much as you can, everywhere you can, because there's no residual and there's none of these VOCs that give you that hotel ick. At Pathosans, we love to say clean doesn't have a smell. Really, if you've removed everything, you shouldn't notice the smell at all. And that's really what our product focuses on. Repeated use, high use, whether it's carpets, the curtains, you can spray it on the bed even. It's going to help remove odors, remove stains, and just your general purpose cleaning all over hard surfaces as well.
So are there any hard surfaces that you can't use it on?
We normally say watch out for anything with a wax coating or a special coating, like a really nice desk with a wax coating. We'd say use in an inconspicuous spot first and make sure it doesn't leave a residue or fog up the wax at all. Okay. And then don't let it evaporate on those surfaces. But otherwise, for the most part, a lightly moist rag would take care of that as well too.
So if you're going to do that and test it on an inconspicuous area first, also spray your cloth, not the surface top.
Yes, very good point. Yes.
Got it. Okay. And how does it work on glass? Is it safe for glass?
Yes, it works very well and is proven effective against a few of the well-known brands everyone has under their sink. In fact, I love it on glass myself.
Oh, nice. Okay. And so then I'm guessing it's also safe for mirrors.
Yes, it is. Correct.
And how
It's
about
really,
granite?
and I'm sorry, one more time.
Granite?
Granite it is. Yes. Granite has that seal, though, we got to be careful with. So we say test in an inconspicuous spot first and make sure it doesn't fog up. If it doesn't, you're in great shape.
Okay. So anything with a seal.
Correct.
Would that also be like wooden cabinets?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So test it
So
on
we'd
the
want to be
inside of a
careful,
cabinet
but it not
first.
necessarily. Yes.
Okay. And so is it pretty strong then, or is it just really effective and maybe closer to pH neutral?
I'd say it's very effective. So actually, our pH is on the higher end still, but it's been proven to be non-corrosive to skin and eyes, which is very important for that higher pH range. And the way we're able to get away with that is because of the ECAS technology, or that electrolytic cell we talked about a little bit earlier. So the main key of that is our 0.0, we'll call it 0.05%, has actually outperformed 5% sodium hydroxide from concentrate. And I don't want to be too morbid here, but the 5% we're talking about, or a little higher, is what you see on your crime shows for them, cleaning up a scene, if you will.
I see.
Yeah.
So tell us about this ECAS. Explain to me in really simple terms what it is and how it works. Like what does electrochemically activated mean?
Great. So for the person operating a machine, which would be likely our company making this fluid, it's a small box that goes in that is submerged in salt water. Then we energize our cell with a DC current, or just simple electricity, the same stuff you'd probably have running in your house everywhere. And what we're doing is we're actually separating those salt molecules. We're pulling sodium one way and chloride the other way. And we're pulling it through a specialized membrane. So it actually filters out the salt water, and we're taking the ions we want, putting them in a reaction chamber, and making the chemistry you need to help effectively clean and disinfect without harming people or the environment.
Oh, wow.
Very, very, yeah. That's about as simple as we can go. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's really cool because we use cleaning chemicals, but many of us don't know how they are created. And my philosophy has always been, we are not chemists. We are house cleaners. And so we leave the separating of the ions to the chemists that that know what all that means.
But
so
what's
that's really
great
awesome.
Yeah, it's just salt water and electricity. So that's really all it is. So operating a machine isn't hard. It's putting salt in the certain tank, just like a water softener at home, and turning it on. And the rest takes care of itself. And then if the bottle product at home takes care of everything.
So what is the shelf life after I have opened my concentrate and I've put it inside a glass jug and I've diluted it? What is the shelf life of that?
So our lab testing supports 1 year after you've diluted it. So I think that's a very long time that should be turned over, especially for a professional housekeeper. At home, that's still a pretty good amount. It's about 16 ounces after diluting in our standard product. We find our larger users too. We'll size our tanks, or we'll size our holding vessels appropriately to turn over about every 30 to 120 days.
Okay. And then is there anything that you can't do, like you can't have it in direct sunlight or anything like that? Are there any special requirements for using your solutions?
Of course. The basic SDS statement is store in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. However, our cleaner can be in direct sunlight, out on the table, out in the I would not store it outside or anything. It'll help speed up that degradation, but it would not be significant to any major effect.
Okay. So if you're just roaming around the house and you got a clear plastic or a clear glass container on your apron holder, it's not going to disintegrate in the middle of your cleaning.
No.
All righty. I want to stop for a second and say hi to everybody. We've got Rachel here. Rachel says, hey, I love it. I made it from England. Hello, Rachel. Good to see you. We got Melissa here. She says, hand pink waving. We got Woodstock. Rachel Rose, are you a professional cleaner for a job? I used to be, but not anymore. You guys, it's so awesome to have you here. We've got Tara Lynn McDonald. It's so true. Most of the clients want to smell the clean smell. I know. And how cool is it that we don't have to leave a smell behind? I think this is fantastic. I actually think this is the new era of cleaning. I'm starting to see even sodas moving to clear because the dyes and the smells and everything we had in the past, we're getting away from that. So a lot of our cleaning solutions are moving in this direction. So I love the fact that we're having this conversation today and finding out affordable ways that we can then bring this into our own homes. So this is awesome. So we talked for a second about the airports and the hotels and the schools using this program. Tell me on a scale, how does this work for the larger janitorial companies and as well as the residential cleaners?
Well, wonderful. So on the larger scale, we're using our on-site generators. So just like you buy an appliance like a water softener or maybe like a big dishwasher, we would come in, we'd make sure you have the right size and equipment, and we put our device in, and it would fill tanks on demand. So as long as the user's putting salt, supplying with water and electricity, the unit's going to keep itself full. So for the person doing the cleaning, they have no interaction with the equipment other than coming up to the tanks and filling their bottles or mop buckets or whatever their floor scrubbers may be that day, just like normal. And when the tanks hit a certain level, the unit will start filling it back up, and away they go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. For a normal household use, it's a simple spray bottles and little refill packs. Nothing too complicated in terms of what we know as standard cleaning and disinfecting.
Okay, so if I was just a homeowner and it's just me and I don't have a professional cleaning company, like how much do I need if I was going to buy a supply for my house?
I think the starter pack would be a great spot to go. It would be 2 concentrate vials that would each be worth 16 fluid ounces of ready-to-use chemistry, and that would last well beyond a normal usage for a week or two, I would think. You'd probably be set for a quarter at least.
And so then do you have like a subscription service where you sign up for that and then it arrives every month or every 2 months or something like that?
We do have a subscription service as well. Yes.
So if I was a cleaning
kind of set, but right now we do about 30 days. Sorry to interrupt you, Angela.
No, that's great question. I'm glad you brought that up. If I was a cleaning service, do I then get the on-site generation for my business so that I can do a lot of refills on a regular basis? Or do I buy the starter kits for the home and then just buy lots of those? Or how does that work?
Great question. It depends on the size of your cleaning business and how you're moving the chemistry around. Because of some of the requirements with the EPA and some of the requirements with just general fluid and GHS, global harmonized system, we need to be careful on how we approach that situation. But most cleaners that fill from one central hub and move out to a bunch of different houses prefer the bottled method because they can fill it up at one site and then they're carrying smaller amounts of liquid out to their customers, and it works much better.
Okay. So as far as inventory goes and as far as just making sure that they're stocked for the day, they've got the dilution. And I'm thinking that would actually be really convenient because you could carry a small, I'm guessing the containers are small, the concentrates that you would put in your cleaning caddy. And then should you run low while you're on the job, instead of dropping what you're doing and racing out to the store, as has been known, we would then fill up right there at the customer's house with the refill bottle.
Absolutely. And Angela, the way you're talking about this makes me think we should have a little 2-ounce concentrate holster. It'd be great. So it'd be like you could do a refill right on the fly.
Well, can you, I guess that's my next question then, is can you just use regular tap water to dilute it, or do you need some kind of form of distilled water?
Regular tap water, anything that anything that you can drink. Yes.
Huh. Well, this is fascinating.
Yeah. I should note too, just kind of while we're talking about this, we're focusing on kind of the smaller end of the scale. We do offer larger sizes as well of this concentrate. So there's a 32 ounce and a 1 gallon that would allow a larger cleaner company or even a larger facility to manage the refill as well.
I'm thinking that's probably what would work really well for a lot of the cleaning business owners that we work with. Because right now, I think many of us are we're not buying 55-gallon drums or anything. We're buying a gallon of a cleaning solution. And then we're using like those 1-ounce pump sprays where it just pumps those from the gallon. And then and I will leave links to those in the notes below, just in case you wanted to add one of those to like a gallon jug. But then you could take the concentrate with you on a job. And that way you would have, if nothing else, just a bottle with just 1 ounce of concentrate or 2 ounces. What is the concentrate? You do 2 for a 16 ounce?
You do 2 ounces for a 16 ounce bottle. Correct.
Okay.
So if you were to have like a 10-fold ratio.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so if you were to have 2 ounces inside a cleaning jug, in the event that then you were to run out or grow low on supplies, you could just go ahead and refill the rest of that if you already had the concentrate inside the jug itself. That might be a great way for packing and traveling just between
Absolutely.
jobs.
Oh, absolutely. And it's about the weight. Water is not a very light material. It's about what, 8 pounds a gallon. So the less you can carry with you, and you're running between your car and the house, probably makes life a lot easier, I'm sure.
Well, I love the concept of this because we are looking for effective solutions that are
Mhm.
kind to both our bodies, but also to our customers and their pets. Tell us a little bit about how this reacts with pets.
Wonderful. It's one of the best things you can use around anything that goes on or comes out of a pet, if you will. Uh, the we have plenty of testing built around that as well. Certain soils that pets can create, and it's one of the best carpet cleaners I've ever used. So I could bore everyone with data another day, but one of my favorite uses is in carpet cleaning carpets. In fact, we have a big hotel customer of ours that has used it, and a lot of their staff has come to us and said, "How can I use this at home? How can I get this for home?" I love it in carpets. It pulls up just about every stain you can imagine. So when you target
So are
that
you
towards
using
whatever
it then in an extractor, like in a
you
carpet
can, yes,
extractor?
you can, yes.
Oh, interesting.
Hmm. So
And
that's
so
I prefer to use
is
it as a
that
spot treatment, but yes,
But is that the cleaning solution, or do you add it to cleaning solution? You add something with that, or is that the cleaning solution?
that is the cleaning solution. So you would kind of fill that whatever that holding tank is that normally holds water with our cleaner, our ready to use cleaner, and then use it in the carpet extractor just like any other product would. What I absolutely love about that is there's no residue. So I'm sure we've all used a carpet extractor with like foaming agent in it. That's a great
Mhm.
example. Does a great job. I don't want to knock any of the other products out there, but the carpet's kind of crusty afterwards as it dries. What we're noticing, that's actually some of that foaming agent being left behind in the fibers of the carpet and making it hard and crispy. Using our cleaner in a carpet extractor following that has actually pulled out that, and we're noticing brighter colors, softer carpets, and of course, an effective clean.
Well, let me ask a really weird question then. Can it be used in a home carpet extractor?
Oh, absolutely. I do have one as well to use it, but I'm more of a fan of a spot treatment.
Well, and the reason I ask is because I know there are a lot of machines on the market that they're
Mhm.
now selling right and left that are like vacuum slash carpet cleaning machines. And there are all kinds of specialty chemicals and stuff that you put in there. And I'm thinking one of the challenges we have is people are putting this suds and foam and stuff in their carpet, and then it's not all coming out. So I love the fact that this doesn't have a color and that it's not sudsy, and that it's
Mhm.
going to just brighten up your carpets when it's done. Does it have a like a hydrogen peroxide effect where it brightens it, or is it just it not so much hydrogen? Like
Oh no,
how does that work?
it's all about the purity of the solution and just a little bit of active ingredient to do the cleaning. So really, it's just a very effective clean, and it's removing layers and layers and layers of what we used to think was clean, foaming agent fragrances that were put into the carpet. We find it really, really funny in facilities that have never used our cleaner before. They'll go through and say, "Why does it foam? My carpet extractor is foaming." Actually, that's pulling up years of a buildup. Angela, you're talking about earlier of repeated use of the same
Mhm.
chemical. Now, the repeated use of the same chemical is pulling out old stuff and leaving behind nothing. So that's really, really unique and a great application.
So I'm going to get asked the question, and I don't know the answer, so I'm just going to go ahead and ask
All
you.
right, go ahead.
Can you use this cleaning solution in a steamer, or do you just recommend not using it in a steamer?
You can use it in a steamer. It works great at room temperature, and I prefer that be used at room temperature because heat is always a fun added element that can lead to uh, electrical shock,
Unwanted
burn,
results.
whatever it may be. So if you can avoid it,
Okay.
why not? Yeah.
Okay. So if you're going to mop with it, and I'm
Mhm.
guessing mopping with it like on a ceramic tile floor, then use your mop head and dip it inside the solution, wring out your mop and use it like a damp mop then, and not with steam.
Correct. That
Okay.
would be the preferred method. Steam still can be used. I know a steam mop is a very effective tool, so it can be used with that. But if you can get away with no heat, I'm a big fan of that.
Okay, well, that's good to know. And I would rather you tell me than me make something up because I didn't know the answer and I was going to have to come hunt you down and find out anyhow. So okay, so not for
Anytime.
steamers, but let's use it at room temperature so that it doesn't change whatever was designed with the electrically, chemically activated stuff initially.
Well, not even that. It's really just adding heat to a process that doesn't need it. It's just kind of unnecessary energy put out into the universe, if you will.
Got it.
It's really towards the sustainability piece. I will say, though, if you have to use a steam, if you're all in on the steam cleaner, I've seen a few of those myself. You could spray this down on the floor first and then come back through with the steam cleaner. And then
Got it. Okay.
so you get your cleaning done and then you clean it up with a nice steam after the fact.
Got it. Okay. So what is the preferred tool to use with this? Is it a microfiber cloth? Is it a sponge? Is it a terry cloth?
I love a microfiber cloth. It's a wonderful piece of technology that no one ever calls a piece of technology except me. But when you really look at when that hit the market, it was really a wonderful piece of equipment with all the surface area it has. It makes an effective cleaning tool with very low investment. So I love using microfibers with Pathosans cleaning and disinfecting chemicals. That said, it works with any preferred method you really want to use.
So tell us,
yeah.
So tell us how Pathosans differs from traditional cleaning agents.
Absolutely. So we'll kind of start with, let's look at traditional cleaning agents. It's kind of in an era where we love to add fragrances. We love to add dyes. We love to add builders and surfactants and all these fun buzzwords. And they do a great job. But we're starting to ask ourselves, do we need it to do this every time? Or do we really need all these chemicals in this bottle to get the job done of wiping my counters down after I spilled something or something along those lines? So what Pathosans is really focusing on is doing more with less, making an effective cleaning chemical that has just what you need to get the job done and nothing more. So that way the user is at a lower risk, the environment the user is cleaning, whether it's the community or your own home or your pets, are at a lower risk. And then the environment itself, as our stuff goes to drain, it's going to be used up. It's harmless salts and, well, cleaning byproduct at that point. That's non-toxic and not for the environment. So it just goes to your drains like normal, and water treatment takes care of it as well.
And I'm thinking because it just has the salt and electricity and water, that there are no allergens or anything that are triggered by use of the product. Is that
correct?
Along the
Yes,
right line?
very good point. Absolutely, yes.
I'm one of those house cleaners that because I've been using all the wrong stuff for years, but going inside customers' homes after cleaning with some of the traditional cleaning solutions, my eyes will just turn bloodshot red and my nose clogs up. And at the end of the day, it's easy to come away from a home and just feel kind of like, like, is this the best I got? And day after day after day after day, it takes a hit on your system. So this seems like a wonderful solution in that it's going to be a lot friendlier to the respiratory system of the cleaner.
Well, my hope is when you're done cleaning, all you recognize is how clean the surfaces are. You don't feel it in your lungs. You don't feel it in your eyes or your nose. One of my favorite parts of my job is getting to hear the user feedback. And I had a custodian come up to me one day and say, this stuff's great. I don't get nosebleeds at work anymore. And I was like, what? Like, that was a problem? And it was because of fragrances. At the end of the day, there was fragrances causing nosebleeds in this individual. Now, that's an extreme case, don't get me wrong, but it was great to hear that we could help that one person and still make an effective cleaner and keep his facility clean as well.
All right, so I'm going to have another question that I know is going to get thrown at me. And this is, how do we prove to our customers that it's actually working? Because a lot of customers will say, when we say, how will you know your house is clean? They'll say, well, because it will smell clean. And if it doesn't have a smell and they're looking at our cleaning solutions and it looks like water, how do we prove to our customers that it is in fact effective? Absolutely.
So the big one here is clean is a very tough thing to measure, right? So the biggest thing is we can prove to your customer however you see fit with testing. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that all the stains are removed, all the visible debris is indeed gone. And then we could always go to other testing. So Angela, you could help me on this one. I know I'm not switching the interview on you a little bit, but what would you normally do for normal cleaners or conventional cleaners that we use nowadays? How do you prove it's clean? Just the smell?
So we ask every customer, how will you know when the job is done?
Mhm.
And every customer has their own little weird little things that they do. Some people
Yeah.
will say that the house smells clean. And I say, what does that smell like?
Mhm.
What does that smell for you? And some people say it smells like pine salt. Some people say, well, it smells like vinegar. Okay,
Mhm.
well, then we have a couple of choices. As
Mhm.
you know, clean doesn't have a smell. So as we
Right.
leave a customer's house, we can dump pine sol in the toilet so that the house smells like pine sol. Will that make them feel more comfortable? And a lot of people, when they walk through it, they're like, no. And then you say, is it okay if your house doesn't have a smell? And like you said, sometimes it comes down to educating the consumer on what exactly that is. Because I can put a little vial in your kitchen sink and fill
Mhm.
it full of vinegar so that your house just has this aroma of vinegar when you walk in, if
Mhm.
that means your house is clean. But the reality is we're going to do an inspection of the house. We're going to make sure the house is clean in spite of the smell itself. But there are a lot of other things a customer will say, they'll say like, oh, the
Mhm.
fringe on their rug will be combed a certain way or whatever. So those little things that are visible to them, we do. But as far as the clean, it is hard to prove. And I
Mhm.
know that during the pandemic, we ran into this a lot where customers are asking us if we could prove that their home was COVID free. And I'm like, no,
Wow.
we do
Yeah,
not.
what a challenge. Yeah.
We do
Yeah.
not have any special
Mhm.
magical tools that, I mean, and COVID was so new to all of us,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
we're saying, no, we don't have any COVID testing units that we can bring to your house that says your house is COVID free. And if we did,
Mhm.
what happens when the next person that has been outside walks in your door? We do not know where that person has been, and they
Mhm.
could have been contaminated or something, and they come back in, and thus your house is now contaminated. Like, we have no way of testing that.
Mhm.
So I think it comes down to educating the customer, but
Mhm.
educating the house cleaners as well. So if we're in an era of sanitizing and disinfecting,
Mhm.
where does the Pathosans brand fall in? Is it sanitizing, or is it disinfecting, or is it both?
Great. So Pathosans kind of differentiates itself from all ECAS manufacturers, and we focus on cleaning first. So our devices produce a cleaner, which is available, which we're kind of talking about today, and then we have a disinfectant, sanitizer, and disinfectant. So our data portfolio that comes with our label or comes with our on-site generator supports both those claims. And depending on the end use of it all, really you end up disinfecting. To be honest, it's the kind of the higher kill claim, the harder to kill bacteria and viruses that come with that. But it can be used as a sanitizer as well. That comes in handy for a lot of food prep areas or storage areas like that.
Fascinating. What are some of the biggest concerns that you have or that you've run into with people switching from traditional products over to the ECAS products that are delivered from Pathosans?
I think our last conversation was a great example of that. It's education. It looks like water. It smells like water. My house needs to smell like pine sol or smell like
Mhm.
insert any other odor or fragrance you can imagine. And it's really educating that consumer on this is very effective. We have a few different little experiments you can do to show that it's not water. We can show with some laboratory testing that it does work. But at the end of the day, the user has to be willing to change the culture of how they clean. And sometimes that can be a challenge. Changing that culture of clean.
Terrell McDonald has a question, and this is a great question. She
Mhm.
says, is this a great cleaner for deep cleanings, hard water in showers, and mold and mildew?
Great question. So with hard water, we'll start with kind of each piece of this. So deep cleanings, absolutely, depending on the material. Hard water, though, I would say no. It's kind of on the higher end of the pH scale or the alkaline side, and hard water needs an acid to get rid of that. So you got to stick with your acid-based cleaners on that. Mold and mildew, on the other hand, are disinfectant, are that product. Very good at doing that. Very good at removing that, and that's all put on the label or instructions on how to do that properly with our chemicals.
So if you were using a mold and mildew prevention, Would this be something like as you get out of the shower for the day and you've already squeegeed down the walls, you could spray the walls with this kind of a chemical and leave it perhaps?
Absolutely. That would be a great way to do that. Again, it's that frequency again that really helps. Mold and mildew is one of the toughest things in the world to get rid of because it's everywhere. All it needs is a certain formula, right? Food and water. The shower's a great spot for that. So that's why everyone has a problem in there. So increasing your frequency with less chemicals means that you're going to do a great job cleaning without harming the environment or yourself that you're in.
Awesome. Well, I love to hear that. That sounds like a great solution. Tony asks the question. She says, "Hi, Angela, can we get a free sample so we can try this product?" I don't know that there are free samples, but what is the price point for somebody that was going to give this a try? Because I think for all cleaning solutions, there are no free samples or whatever. If you're going to try something out, you usually spend $4 or $5 or something, and you buy a ready-to-use bottle. And this sounds like a concentrate, so you might get more than a bottle. But what is the price point for somebody just wanting to give it a try?
That's a great question. So we talked about that starter kit right at home. It's right there, right around $14.99 last time I checked. So it's a nice entry point to get your feet wet with this product. And it kind of goes up from there as we look to 1 gallon of our concentrate. It's less than, it's right around $27, I think. And that dilutes tenfold. So that's quite a bit of cleaning chemical right there from Pathosansdirect.com. We'll likely run some promotional events as well, so you can get a discount off that. So keep an eye on our website. And maybe some people that interview our chemists. We'll see what happens, but and go from there. Yeah.
So if you were getting started, what do you expect in that starter kit? What comes with that?
So that is our reusable, refillable glass bottle with a nice label for natural Pathosans natural cleaner, all-purpose cleaner, and then two 2-ounce glass vials in a nice little package to be for refill packs. So it's about 32 ounces of RTU chemistry ready to go at your convenience, with about 2 years worth of shelf life. So that could sit under, hopefully it sits out on your counter, but it could sit under a sink too for as long as you need it.
And is there any problem if I use a plastic bottle instead of a glass bottle? Because I promise you this, if I use a glass bottle, it's going to bust on me the first time that I go to a customer's house. I'm going to bump into something, it's going to fall on the floor and it's going to crash.
Yeah.
So can I use it?
No. Yeah. A plastic bottle will work just fine.
That's fine. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. And 16 ounces, is that the preferred size? Because 2 ounces goes with a 16-ounce bottle.
Correct. That's just to get the average home user used to it. So maybe someone like yourself, Angela, that's cleaning a lot, professional cleaner. We do offer the plastic bottle as well in 32-ounce bottle sizes off our website.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 32 ounces.
We do try to accommodate everyone and all the different uses around cleaning chemicals.
Well, the reason I ask is I just see myself with a glass bottle, and I'm not fumble fingers. I mean, I'm more, specific than that. But if I have a glass bottle, it's gonna bust on my first clean. I just know that for a fact. So I'm not gonna
leave science out of this a little bit, but I think you'd be surprised with how robust this glass bottle is. Not perfect, but we've already had our few, we'll call it impromptu tests around our laboratory as well.
Okay, fair enough. So safety is a significant concern in the cleaning industry. Can you elaborate a little bit on some of the solutions and address the safety concerns for both the cleaning staff and the building occupants? I'm talking not just in homes, but also like in apartment complexes. We talked for a little bit about the schools. Can you talk to us safety across the board?
Oh my goodness, yes. I mean, how many horror stories can we tell of people getting horribly injured by improper mixing, or beyond improper mixing, short-term exposure to too concentrated of a chemical, or long-term exposure to the same chemical in smaller doses. Just there's so many different ways you can hurt yourself if you're not aware of what chemicals you're working with. And we really tried to move away from that by saying everything we put out from Pathosans is going to be proven non-irritating, non-corrosive skin, no acute toxicity, let alone chronic toxicity. We really need to stand by that and make sure that the ingredients we're putting in our bottles are not going in our body. That's kind of something we say here at Pathosans too, is what's in the bottle can end up in the body. And that's really what we're trying to get the world to think of in terms of cleaning, and how Pathosans is trying to help out increase the safety standard when working with chemical to avoid these horrible news stories or these horrible situations. So,
so you mentioned before about that it is safe and that it's safe for pets and that it's safe in food areas. Is it food grade safe so that if we were to use it like on a kitchen area and then you were to go in and make a sandwich or something, any residue or anything that's left behind it's not going to harm the body in any way?
Correct. Not in any, actually our two active ingredients. So our cleaner is mainly based in sodium hydroxide. And before anyone says, not all sodium hydroxide is created equal, because of this ECAS technology, it is proven to be the safer form of how you can get to hydroxide. Hydroxide is recognized as GRAS, or generally regarded as safe by the FDA. It can be used in food products. I'm not saying use it in food products, but I am saying if you clean a cutting board with it, probably won't even notice the taste. The other side of that, we do have our hypochlorous acid disinfectant. That also has been proven to be allowed on food surfaces per our label.
So I'm guessing since it's safe and it's affordable and it's something that is readily available to everyone, either via subscription or what is the term we used? An on-site generator.
Yes.
What is the affordability for the on-site generator for, let's say, a small company that wanted to use and create their own?
Absolutely. So we have found it really comes down to a usage pattern. So we actually size our equipment, and that's really where the pricing falls into play on how much are you going to need and how much is the unit going to run, because that kind of dictates service requirements, replacement parts, consumables, salt usage. Now salt's very low, but still we have to take all that into consideration. But what we have found is we've come in comparable to the average monthly spend of any traditional chemical nowadays. Sometimes we're a little higher, sometimes we're a little lower. It's tough to say exactly in the broad sense. But what we've really enjoyed and what we found is we have to understand our customer's process very well. And as we dig in, the customer starts to say, "Oh wow, these guys, we really might be onto something here. There might be cost savings in chemical hazardous container disposal, or not needing gloves, or something along those lines." So it's really a fun process and a great way to get to know our customers as well.
You just brought up a really interesting hot point, personal protective equipment. What kind of personal protective equipment do you need when using the Pathosans product?
Great. None required. I say that none required when handling the chemistry. I don't know about you, Angela, but I probably would not go into a restroom and clean without gloves, or especially a public one. But that being said, I'm protecting myself more from what I'm cleaning, not what I'm cleaning with.
But if I'm inside my own home, I don't need gloves if I'm cleaning my counters or my vanities or any of those things.
Correct. You would not need anything.
Interesting.
No PPE.
So safe for touching of the hands, safe for breathing. If it gets on you, safe for pets, safe for people, safe for airborne spray, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Yes.
Huh. How come we don't all have this yet?
I was going to say, this is the other challenge. It seems too good to be true, but at the end of the day, we really stand by these data sets that show us this. And, the other side of that is simply trying and seeing is believing. So,
what category does this? I'm sorry, I interrupted.
I was just going to say, as more and more people adopt our technology, I think we're going to see it much more in the next few years.
So what category does this fall in as far as like a disinfectant or a degreaser or just a soap? Like what is this?
Great. So our cleaner product, kind of what we're focusing on today and what we're really excited to talk about with the concentrate bottles and filling up, it's sold as a general purpose cleaner for every surface in your house that you can think of, minus the few we discussed. Special coatings, just be careful with. But outside of that, general purpose cleaning. It has some degreasing ability, but if you're trying to clean an oven that has burnt on, caked on, however long that may be, we're not going to be the right fit right away. If it's a maintenance clean, like we're talking about every 2-3 times a week, you'll see that those residues do stay down longer, and you'll go longer before you need those stronger chemicals to come in and really scorch the earth, if you will, for lack of a better term.
Well, and I think that's a really good point, because when you're doing a deep cleaning, there are certain chemicals that are required. And for the reason that the deep cleaning is required because it did not get that way overnight. It was not maintained, and then suddenly, boom, it needs a huge deep cleaning. It was been neglected for a very long time. Therefore, it needs something very strong to maybe cut through a bunch of gunk so that you can get back to the maintenance cleaning. One of the things I like best about the Pathosans concept is that if you are cleaning on a frequent basis, especially like an Airbnb or a hotel or a schoolroom or something like that, where you were going to need daily cleaning, it's a really great way to maintain the cleanliness without the heavy duty chemicals. And I think that's really important to specify, because our goal has always been, if you don't need a really strong chemical, please don't use one. But there's a really fine line of not having anything that's good and then having something that's really good that will do the job and it will sanitize. And I think I'm hearing from you today that this is the really good in between, that this is a really great and excellent way to maintain the clean between regular cleanings. So if you have a heavy duty cleaning, heavy duty chemicals, but for the regular maintenance cleaning, and most of what we're going to be maintaining from here on out is going to be something that can be maintained with an ECAS product like Pathosans.
I could not have said that better myself. Thank you. That was great. Yeah.
Well, and I like the usability of it, because I mean, we're sneaking up on the holidays, and every homeowner wants to buy their house cleaner something for the holidays. They don't know what to get. There are house cleaners that want to give the families that they clean for something. And this sounds like a really good gift pack that is a way to introduce, hey, here's a great eco-friendly way to keep your house clean between professional cleans. Here's a great little pack kit that you can get started with at your house. So I love that.
Absolutely. I must say, I give them out as gifts all the time, and people love it. I can't wait to clean. Something I never thought I'd hear in my life, right? This may be the different audience. They're probably already waiting to clean, but I absolutely
this audience does love to clean.
Note.
Yes, they love to clean for the most part.
Yeah. So hopefully we can get this group excited about a different way to clean too, a new way to clean, the new era of clean. Yeah.
Do you have any stories of anybody that has switched from regular cleaning over to the ECAS system, aside from the nosebleed guy, that has been really satisfied with the results and then has decided this is the new way and they're not going to go back?
I'd say we have a good majority of our school clients that do say that as well. They were they adopted us actually during or right at the the COVID era, and they started cleaning with it more and realizing the safety aspect of it as well, and said, wow, our schools have never looked more clean, and now we don't have that fragrance everywhere, to the point where they said, we felt safe enough to give our teachers bottles of this chemistry from your device so they could clean and disinfect the rooms inside the on site while the kids were out at recess, and we knew the kids wouldn't come back and put their elbows and arms on their desks and get chemical burns. That was a big problem in that era, was people went back to what they knew, and we went up against the culture of, well, if it can harm me, it's going to kill the virus. So let's just spray it everywhere. Let's fog it everywhere. And that really wasn't the case. We proved we were effective while still being sustainable and safe for the end user and the environment.
Well, and that's an interesting point you would bring up. And I saw a lot of damage during the pandemic where people were spraying disinfectants and then leaving them for 10 minutes. And it was eating through fabrics, and it was eating through desktops and things like that, where it was ruining the finishes. And you mentioned already that this can't go on some finishes, so do be careful. But what is the dwell time? Because that's something that we really became aware of during the pandemic, was the dwell time, that you had to leave it on for a certain amount of time in order for it to be effective. What are we looking at with Pathosans?
Gotcha. So Pathosans, the cleaner itself does not really have a dwell time. It's just a cleaner. You got to use it. Some stubborn buildup requires multiple applications or a little more at each time. So there's really no concern about the contact time there. Our disinfectant product, however, has kind of a range of kill times. We do have some 10 minutes, but that's for the big nasty ones, the ones where they're under a 5% a soil load, making it more hard to kill. down to 1 minute, which we have proven against SARS-CoV-2, the virus that did cause, it got some bad rap a few years back. So depending on the virus, depending on the bacterium, it can change. But yeah, we have one of the faster kill times for the general spectrum of bacteria.
So what about porous surfaces?
Okay. In terms of cleaning, our cleaner itself has been recognized as Wool Safe. So that's a third-party organization that tests our fluid against a red wool carpet. So if there was ever a surface and color to be concerned about, it would certainly be that combination. And we pass that. In terms of our disinfectant, we do have a porous claim, but that's a certain product to do that. Not something we typically market out to disinfect porous surfaces. It's very difficult to do and prove. So we say clean first and disinfect second.
Yeah. Awesome. So with the clean and disinfecting, then is your process the same? You use the clean products to clean with, and then the disinfecting product to disinfect?
Yes, you cannot disinfect a dirty surface. We're big believers on that. And because we make both fluids, what better excuse to clean first and come back and use your disinfectant as that insurance policy? If there's any little bit of visible soil, that bacteria is going to harbor itself in that and be very difficult to kill.
Since we're talking to professional homeowners, professional cleaners and homeowners today, what are situations in which a disinfecting would be required? I know for hospitals, certainly, but for the average person, I mean, like, we're noticing lots of homes, people are opening cardboard boxes and putting them inside their microwave, and that's what they're eating for dinner. It's not like they're doing open heart surgery on their kitchen cupboard, you know? So what is it that we're actually disinfecting inside our homes?
That's great. So when you think of disinfecting, you're already talking about something that can make you sick that's a living organism or somewhat alive. So bacteria, viruses are kind of the two key words. So if you're trying to get rid of those, that's when disinfecting is key. So maybe after someone's sick, you'd want to disinfect high touch surfaces. Maybe after an accident. I know I have young ones at home. So, after an accident, you'd want to disinfect to assure there's no harmful bacteria left behind. Or an accident involving a cut or scrape or something like that. You'd want to clean the area and ensure there's no bad bugs there. And then sometimes, depending on how you look at it, food prep itself. If you're bringing in a lot of raw fruits and vegetables and have them across the counter, you can wash your vegetables too with this, I'd like to add. But then you could spray and disinfect that surface, so any of the bugs that came in on those vegetables that fell on the hard surface are now gone.
So for homeowners and for professional cleaners, if we're talking about hazardous materials, somebody's vomited, somebody's urined on the floor, dog peed or whatever, when we clean up those areas, we clean those areas first and then we disinfect. And I would say for those of you that are cleaning up after mice, if you find a mice that comes into your house, we're going to follow the same protocols for that. And we're going to clean and then we're going to disinfect with the Pathosans product. One other thing that I am wanting to know here, Terralyn says, you talked about surface cleaning. Is it okay to use for desks, on desk for offices? And I think you mentioned with the wood surface, if it's like a really expensive wood desk, be careful on the wood surface. Other surface types that it can be used on in general areas like that.
Oh, absolutely. So we're in schools all over the country. We're in office spaces all over the country. Just about any of your standard office desk, whatever may come, that's that vinyl or plastic or something along those lines. No issues whatsoever with compatibility. It's really when you start using a different chemical to treat the material the desk is made out of is when you should kind of say, let's try something here. But if it's just a hard vinyl covered type desk, no issues there.
All right. So speaking about offices and speaking about high touch areas, because you touched on that real briefly, if we're not talking about disease and germs and viruses and all that stuff, just for regular standard high touch areas, and we're talking especially in office buildings, lots of homes where people grab the back of a chair and they pull the chair out. That's a high touch area, the back of a chair, or the light switches, or if they open a microwave oven or they open the refrigerator door. Those are all high touch areas. Is this safe on all those high touch areas? And I'm not talking about the disinfecting one, but the regular cleaning solution.
Correct. Every one of those, I'd recommend that on. It's great at cleaning those, the back of the chair too, that dark handprint or whatever color the chair turns. It'll help prevent that over time. Now, I will say, depending on how popular that one person is that keeps getting their chair grabbed, that might that might create a stain still, or wear out the material itself over time. But Pathosans can certainly help prevent it.
So things like high chairs. It's safe for high chairs for children.
I love it on my kids' high chairs. So after spaghetti night, after I clean the kid up and move them over the side, then I got to deep clean my house, as I'm sure we're all aware. So I got to clean the ceiling and the walls and the windows. And I use our PathoClean cleaner everywhere to do that.
So if that's true, following that logic, is that also safe then for children's plastic toys?
Correct. Yes, it is. It's a great cleaner for that as well. So you're not leaving behind the residue on that toy that will likely inevitably go in somebody's mouth.
Well, and I'm thinking little kids put everything inside their mouths,
goodness,
right?
yes.
So all the plastic toys, the beads, the little, the swings, the bassinets, I'm thinking all of those areas where the kid, gnaws on it with their teeth while they're teething.
Yes.
Okay.
In fact,
safe for that.
My 1-year-old at home. Yes.
How about pet
1-year-old?
toys?
Yeah. What's that?
Pet toys?
Pet toys, great for that as well. I know my dog kind of had a thunder. He was scared of storms for a little bit, and he would chew really, really hard, and his gums would bleed a little bit. So he'd get a little bit of blood on his toy and then on the carpet. Pathosans cleaner took care of all of that, no problem. Yeah, right.
I love that.
Thank you.
All right, so Woodstock says, is it only available in America, or is it available in the UK too?
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you. Right now it's available in the US, but our company is global. So our on-site generators and bottled product can be available in the UK specifically, and just about any of the major countries right now that are, we have 13 manufacturing sites globally. So that helps kind of, yeah, pretty neat. Yeah.
So if you're in another country, then are you able to get the on-site generator? Or is that something that's soon to come?
Nope, we can support on-site generators throughout the globe. It's reach out to your local Pathosans representation, and we can help you kind of navigate that.
So local Pathosans representation, is that the same link that I go to here at Pathosans Direct? Or just
Pathosans Direct will kind of get you there. We do have a larger parent website as well. And then I should mention too, it's a great time to shout out, Pathosans is a division of Spraying Systems Company. So Spraying Systems Company is the world leader in spray nozzles, and they're out there helping us clean and disinfect as well with the best technology in spray. So that's where a lot of our sales offices and manufacturing sites support the Pathosans message and cause.
Oh my goodness, this is just fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today. I've learned so much. And if nothing else, I just got really excited about learning more. I know this is new technology for many of us, and I'm excited as we explore the new frontiers moving forward. Because like I said earlier, I think we're in an era of getting away from the dyes and the heavy chemicals and the things that have harmed the environment and our waterways and our respiratory systems and all these things for so long. I think we're moving away from all of that. So it's more than just a buzzword now. It's actually a responsibility that we're taking a look at. How can we do our own little individual part? And in an era where there are so many terms like green and natural and whatever that are just unregulated terms, it's really nice to actually have some solutions that you can, as a professional cleaner, take into a customer's home and say, hey, listen, this is proven technology that we feel good about, and we're pretty sure you'll feel good about it as well.
Well, that means the world to hear you say that. So thank you so much, because that really is our message. That at Pathosans, we care about clean, and we want to change the culture of clean, and we want to make good for everyone.
Well, thank you, Tyler. This has been so informative, and I've just really enjoyed our time together. I hate that our time is up, but please will you stay in touch with us and keep us posted? And then also I'm going to leave links in the show notes so that our friends can get in touch with you, and they can also get their starter kits and just give this a try and see how they like it. And I want you guys to leave comments, leave your experiences, and then we'll have Tyler jump in and answer questions, anything that you guys have that comes up after today if you're watching the replay.
Sounds great. Thank you, Angela.
All right, that's it, you guys. Thanks again for tuning in.